Welcome back.
We're back.
The streak continues.
Yeah,
Never miss an upload.
another one. We're keeping it going. We'll get there soon,
How
Tyler.
many weeks straight now?
Is this 3 weeks now?
I don't know. I think it's two, honestly.
Only two. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll nail down a regular schedule at some point. I feel
Yeah,
like
eventually. Hopefully. Um, but yeah, knowing ball episode, I don't even know.
we don't got to keep going with the episode
All
numbers
right.
at this
All
point.
right.
We'll get. I think it's like seven probably by
Yeah,
now,
right around that
maybe.
range probably. Yeah. But yeah, we're back. Thomas, how you been?
I've been all right, man. Just living life. Got the cat.
Yeah.
Trying to eat
Dang.
healthier, knowing
That's
that
good.
uh, I
Gotta
ate I
gotta
ate a lot of
slim down
crap
for the for
recently,
the
so
summer bod. For the summer bod.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get into hot boy summer during
There you
this
go.
instead of
White boy summer.
white boy summer, hot
Yeah.
boy. Getting that beach bod in
Yeah.
the middle of the summer. So
Yeah.
I'll have it ready for the fall.
Yeah.
When I'm really gonna need it.
Right. Yep. There you go.
How about
Um,
you, man? Well, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just golfed a quick nine on the course. Didn't hit too bad. So, I started, I was pretty bad, but I'm getting better, I think. So that's a good thing.
Suck at golf, so
Trying to golf and get tan this summer, man. Honestly, that's my goal.
well, it's a good goal, man. I
Yeah.
wish I
Not,
wish I had the same one, but mine is quite simply just survive in the summer.
oh, fair enough. But I mean, not much NFL news really. Got a couple things to talk about. I think the biggest piece of news we got is T-Loss got himself a bag.
Yeah, that was not unexpected. I think that
No.
we all kind of knew the Jaguars were going to pay him.
Yeah.
Um, is it what he deserves?
Probably.
Um, no, I think they're paying him for what they hope he's going to be the next few
Yeah.
years compared to what he's actually been.
55 mil a year is insane.
Yeah, wait, and again, like this is a guy who was supposed to be like the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. He's
Yeah.
flashed so many great things, but then also just something always seems like it's missing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, this is definitely again that move where it's like we expect him to take that jump the next year, 2 years to being in that top quarterback consideration.
Yeah.
And there's a risk with that. That's
Sure.
$55 million for a guy who, if he doesn't end up filling in as one of those top quarterbacks, you're very
Yeah.
severely handicapping yourself moving forward. And I don't think anyone has a question of Trevor Lawrence is a guy you can win football games with. He can be a
Yeah.
reliable quarterback. It's just, is he the guy that you can sacrifice paying some other stars because your quarterback was going to elevate whatever you put around him? And he hasn't shown that yet,
Right.
but clearly the Jaguars at least think he can. So, yeah.
Two things with Lawrence for me is I think he has to take one more step, like you said, and become that guy. Obviously, he's a great quarterback, but he needs to be, I think, just a step better and get in the Mahomes and Josh Allen and, the category of those guys. And I think the Jags need to make a little bit of a playoff push to really feel like that they invested their money properly. Because if they can make a playoff push, they're paying this guy all this money when they could be, spreading the wealth to try and boast their team as a whole rather than make sure their quarterback is paid. So I think they got their guy. Obviously, they are committed to Trevor Lawrence, and this move shows that. So now he just kind of has to take the next step in becoming that not just a great quarterback, but like a you know perennial top five guy in the league. Which with the quarterback position as a whole in the NFL is very interesting. I feel like there's so many guys that are in Lawrence's conversation of like just on the cusp.
Yeah.
All they have to do is just fix a little bit of their intangibles, and their team has to win a little bit more, and then you can be like, this guy is top five material.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for me, it's there's no reason why you don't pay Lawrence, don't give him the
Right.
extension, whatever. Obviously, I don't get why there's never really been these are the tiers of what quarterbacks get paid. It's
Right.
always just been your quarterback just gets the next largest contractor.
Reset the market. It's so weird. You're like they just reset the market every single
Yeah.
time.
And, you have the outliers where they don't reset the market, but usually if you're extending a quarterback, you're resetting the quarterback market to some extent. And, with Lawrence, first off, his draft class, what happened to the quarterbacks of that draft class? That was supposed to be one of the best draft classes of quarterbacks ever. And Lawrence is the only one that's still with his original team from that first round. That's just wild to me. Um, and, obviously, um, the fact that he has been able to perform at that level where they want to keep him around, great. Pay him, I guess. But at the same time, man, like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, what happened? Um, where Mac Jones is backup quarterback now, for what it's worth. So just it makes sense why like that's just how the NFL works. You reset that quarterback market when you extend the guy. It's just one of those things that again, if he doesn't take that next step, they're capping their ceiling pretty
You're
hard.
putting so much trust and so much pressure on that guy to be exactly what he is, a market resetter, which is like okay, so this is what I just thought of this when we started talking. The Dak Prescott conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he gets paid a lot, and it capped the Cowboys' ability to build around him. Um, you can build a playoff team around a quarterback getting paid that much, but can you build a championship team around a quarterback back getting paid that much if he's not going to elevate everyone around him? And right now, the Jags are possibly taking that step that the Cowboys took and just
Where is
hoping that he can do what Dak couldn't.
where is Josh Allen at with his like the Jaguars? Josh Allen
Jaguars, Josh Allen. I think
has he got paid yet, or is he going to need to be paid soon?
let me double check.
Because that's going to be a tough loss too. Because he's a great guy on defense too. He's there molding them.
He signed a 5-year, $141 million contract. So he's locked up.
Okay.
Average salary of $28 million a year,
Okay.
which
I mean, they
is
paid their money,
also
I
a pretty
guess.
big chunk.
Yeah.
Obviously, you pay your superstar edge rusher.
Yeah.
um, but just, yeah, the Jaguars are getting to that point. A few years ago, they were that team. Oh, we have a bunch of guys on rookie contracts. We can go out and pay these people. We can, sign free agents. They're not in that situation anymore. They have to pay the guys that were able to play like stars on rookie contracts.
Yeah.
And, obviously they were still able to bring in, the likes of uh, the guy from the Davis from the Bills,
Oh, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis, yeah. And, you lose Calvin Ridley, but you replace him with Gabe Davis, bring in Brian Robinson Jr. It's just at one point is what they have just not going to be enough to win a Super Bowl, especially because they didn't even make the playoffs last year.
They're just so their franchise as a whole is really weird. I feel like the AFC South as a whole is really weird.
Yeah,
It always is every year.
like it's going to be interesting to see if the Jaguars even really make like
I know.
do they make the playoffs next year? Because they have to
I think
deal with
they're
the
a I
Texans,
think they're a
obviously.
cusp playoff team as it lies right now.
Like the Texans are the favorites to win that division right now. The Titans are a mess, but they could be a surprising team. They've got some pretty good
Yeah.
weapons on that
Mhm.
roster. And then the Colts, Anthony Richardson's coming back. Gardner Minshew had them on the cusp of a playoff berth
Exactly.
last year.
Yeah.
So, just obviously the Jaguars needed to re-sign Lawrence because they're not in a position to go get a better quarterback
Yeah.
either through the draft or through free agency or trade. Like there's not any, you can't feasibly do better than Lawrence right now unless for some reason like one of those top echelon guys is like, I want out, which just is
Yeah.
not happening. So
I don't
yeah,
know. The
they're just
AFC
in a weird
feels
spot.
really the AFC feels really deep for teams that could make the playoffs.
Yeah, well,
Not necessarily that they have the best teams. I mean, they might with the Chiefs, but like they are. I feel like there's a lot of teams that can push to make the playoffs this year in the AFC.
I think that the things we've kind of seen is the AFC is so loaded at quarterback
Yeah.
compared to the NFC. You know, you've
Oh, yeah.
got even just in the AFC North, you've got Joe Burrow, you've got Lamar Jackson, you've got in the East Tua. For all of his faults, you have Tua who plays very well, very accurate, good timing on his
Josh
throws.
Allen, Aaron Rodgers.
You know, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Stroud,
Yep.
Mahomes. I
Yep.
mean, best quarterback in the NFL, Mahomes. So, you know, obviously, just comparatively, the AFC is just so loaded at quarterback where you kind of get the feeling that the AFC is always kind of favored to win the Super Bowl
Yeah.
right now just because they have that edge at quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where in the arms race for that AFC, I don't think that the Jaguars are positioned to compete for that title.
No.
And, you know, keeping Lawrence locked in for the next 5 years, you know, great. But at the same time, now they have to do some maneuvering to make sure that they can continue building around him,
Yeah.
which
100.
might mean, you know, you're going to have to build your weapons through the draft a lot more
Yeah.
because
No. 100%. They're going to rely heavily on the draft.
you're not going to be able to bring in a lot of high priced free agents now because of Josh Allen's contract, Trevor Lawrence's contract, and then ETN. I don't know if he re-signed or not, but you're going to have to re-sign ETN and all these other things. So just
Yep.
figuring all that out is going to be interesting. But Tyler, enough of Trevor Lawrence because the Lions finally have a kicker. You know,
Hopefully.
after so
Fingers
much
crossed.
time.
It's funny because it used to be like back with Jason Hanson, like he was the most reliable player on the Lions. Like when we send out the kicker, it's like, all right, 3 points on the board. And then we had Prater for a little bit who had some inconsistencies, but was pretty solid at kicker. And now we've done a complete 360 where we have a good offense, we have a solid defense. Now we just need someone that can knock down some kicks. And Jake or Jack Bates, one of the two, Jake or Jack, excuse me for the I don't really know, but he knocked down some long field goals, man, some 60 plus yarders. And he was good. He was like 6 of 10 from 50 plus this year in the UFL. So, I mean, the Lions, he obviously had a good workout with the Lions because they signed him to a 2-year deal. So as long as he can be consistent and knock down some big long kicks, that's fine with me. I mean, well, I'd rather roll the dice on a guy that's hitting those kind of kicks at Ford Field, you know, rather than someone like Riley Patterson or Michael Badgley or whoever it might be. These guys that are either washed or like no one knows who they are. You know.
And the thing is, in that NFC Championship game against the 49ers, everyone complained about, oh, Dan Campbell shouldn't have gone for it on fourth down
Right.
those two times. He should have just kicked it.
Right.
A major reason why he decided to go for it, not just because he's an aggressive coach who likes to go for it, but also the Lions kickers sucked.
Our
You do
biggest
not trust your kicker.
inconsistency, our biggest inconsistency the past couple years that Campbell's been coaching has been the kicker.
Yeah, like there's no reason why he should have like he had no trust in his kicker. That's why he went for it on fourth down. I guarantee you, if he had a reliable kicker, at
Yeah.
least one of those times he's kicking the ball.
If he has an
And
Adam Vinatieri he can put out there, yeah, that's whatever, Who he takes that kick 10 times out of 10, but you got a guy that it's the NFC Championship game. It's the most important kick of the game of the season of maybe that person's career. And he's been inconsistent all year long and there's 10 times the amount of pressure. It's like you go with the offense that's had fourth down conversions all year long and, an offense that, Goff has been there before. He's been in that position. He's been to a championship game. He's been to a Super Bowl. Go with your gut, your gut instinct. And yeah, Campbell's aggressive too, so he's just playing more into that as well. I wasn't upset with with the fourth down call there. If we want to go back and talk about that for a second, because I'm going to now, because I just want to express my anger with the people that don't watch the Lions all year long, and then they're all of a sudden in Lions fans when it's the NFC Championship game, and they're on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it might be, and I'm scrolling and I see, oh, I see someone I know hasn't watched a Lions game all year long go, oh, why is Campbell going for it on fourth down? We take the three there. It's like, dude, you haven't watched shit all year long, and you're gonna try and come out here and coach the game. Like, come on. It really frustrated me. I was really upset. It was a rough couple days on Twitter and Facebook because I just kept seeing all these posts and I wanted to just tell these people to shut the hell up. But I kept my composure.
And now hopefully you have that kicker that can be
Yes,
right upon
yes.
those kicks.
This season will be a good tell for the regular season for him to get his leg in the NFL a little bit and get comfortable. So
I mean, he's going to be playing in the same stadium he played in when he was in the UFL.
exactly,
Too.
exactly.
Like, he's already used to kicking in Ford Field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was concerned when they were just running it back with the same kicker as last year at first.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of was like, oh, they should sign the Panthers kid, and
We switched kickers halfway through the year because we couldn't,
like that initial signing of, oh, the Lions are resigning, and it's just like, why?
and it's like, okay, if you get rid of your kicker that you had at the beginning of the year and you pick one up that hasn't been picked up halfway through the year, obviously this guy hasn't been picked up because he's not the best kicker that's available. So, you're kind of just rolling the dice, being like, well, I hope this guy's better than the last one we just had, because I think it was Badgley, correct? Michael Badgley?
Yes.
Okay. Which he has had more success in the NFL than I would say Riley Patterson has. So it's like they're going with the vet rather with the guy that's been struggling all year, right?
But yeah, so I mean, we'll see. Lions want to compete for a Super Bowl, and special teams is important. People might trash on punting and kicking field goals and all that, but I mean, it was a little over 10 years ago that the Chargers had one of the best offenses and best defenses, and then just the absolute worst special teams.
The best offense, the best defense.
And so, yeah, like there's going to be games where they need their kicker and having
special teams will win a game and it'll lose a
great.
So,
and then I think the only real big news, Tyler, is the T. Higgins thing. For those at home who live under a rock, T. Higgins is signing his franchise tag. He's going to play out the year with the Bengals and potentially be a free agent next year if they don't tag him again.
Which might be smart, honestly, in my opinion. Just because
tagging him again?
No, not franchise tag. I'm saying Higgins to sign his franchise tag rather than go through the process of trying to get out of it or whatever. He can either become a trade piece at the middle of the year before the trade deadline, or he can play out the rest of his year with Cincinnati and then hopefully become a free agent. And I'm sure the wide receiver market will increase even more, and he can end up getting himself even a bigger bag than he was going to, at this point anyway. So,
yeah. And, I think the one thing you worry about is health still. Just too many times guys play out that final year and they get hurt and that takes their stock. But at the same time, betting on himself, knowing, obviously he's not an alpha wide receiver. We've been over this before, but he's a very good number two. One of the best number two receivers in the NFL. So the fact that he's playing this year out benefits the Bengals very much because we've talked previously about how we don't really know what they're doing with how they're building their roster around Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, this is what they need. They need to have weapons. They have to compete with the Ravens in the AFC North. The Browns and the Steelers, not as strong of teams on paper as the Bengals and Ravens are on paper, but the Browns and the Steelers, that division is always very competitive.
They're the Browns and the Steelers,
no matter what the roster is. So, it's going to be a challenge, especially as we said in a AFC that's so loaded at quarterback. and there are quarterbacks with much better weapons than the Bengals have provided Burrow, especially on offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So, it's crucial, but again, I
I
don't know.
think I think the thing with Higgins is he really didn't have a great year last year, even with Jamar Chase having his injuries because Higgins got banged up and he just really wasn't. I don't think he really produced a ton when Jamar was out too. So I think if he can come out, one, have some consistency in the receiving game, and two, stay healthy, it'll be good for his stock. Obviously if he doesn't have a great year and he continues to be banged up, I think that just shows the kind of receiver that he is, inconsistent and has injury problems. But if he can come out and have a good year and stay on the field for the most part, I think that would be best case scenario for him, obviously, and then go from there. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
all I got about
that's
it.
that's the only real NFL news going on right now, besides just rumors or how OTAs are going or things like that.
Oh
So
yeah, we could sit here and talk about everyone just wants to sit and talk about Aaron Rodgers not showing up to OTAs like it's the biggest deal in the world.
also,
Like
like, it's not surprising.
like this dude isn't the biggest weirdo in the offseason anyways. Like
If you said, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers didn't show up to to training camp," like, okay, yeah,
like you could just be
okay,
like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers says he's gonna be in a cave for 3 weeks and then he'll come back and start the regular season. I'd be like, yeah, sounds like a
that
normal
sounds like
offseason for
something
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers would do. Yeah, this
Yeah,
isn't surprising.
I
Yeah,
don't know. They're being weird about it. I think everyone's being weird because like Salah is coming out and like talking about it openly, how it's like inexcusable. And then everyone's just like, but this is who he is. Like, why are you trying to
yep,
bullshit us? Like, we don't know this is what he does.
yep.
I,
This is the Aaron Rodgers experience. It's really weird because it's really been like the past 5 or 6 years that this has
yeah,
been the Aaron Rodgers experience with. I feel like more than 6 years ago, you knew he was a top five, top three quarterback in the NFL, but you didn't really hear a whole lot about him besides
no,
that. And now he's just an absolute weirdo.
yeah.
So
I
um,
don't, I don't know. Like after the spotlight went on him about leaving Green Bay, he's just been real. Like when there was like first started rumors, like he might be out. Like for the couple years before that he actually left, it's just been like he's been so weird. But before that, I feel like I never heard anything about the dude. I just hated his guts because he beat the Lions always.
yeah, he just I don't know, something about wanting to leave Green Bay unlocked
Yeah,
chaotic
I
element.
think it was. I think it was his breakup with Shailene Woodley or whatever her name was. Is what did it.
He's had multiple girlfriends. I don't know who they all are.
Yeah, I don't know. He's weird. That guy's weird.
Can you also date the race car driver, Danica Patrick?
Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
that was a while ago though.
That
That's
was
like that's the only news. Like that's like the prior years before we knew he was a weirdo. I feel like that's the only news I knew about him is that him and Danica Patrick were dating
pretty much, yeah. Like that's the only real thing that you hear about now. But now it's just like, oh, he's going into a isolation retreat
and
for
doing
3 weeks.
hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. Hey, that's what he's
and
into. That's what he's into, I guess.
yeah, I mean, if he wants to be a weirdo, more power to him. But
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that concludes the show. Everyone, thanks for listening. A little bit of a quick episode this week. Hope everyone has a great Father's Day tomorrow. And yeah, we'll be back next week sometime. So, all
yeah. All right.
right.
Sounds
Peace.
great. Adios.